Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. Top tier Tuesday. So we're gonna do something a little different here. We're gonna look at the different genetics in bodybuilding and see where you fall in, right? See which category you fall in as far as your response to muscle growth, right? Because remember, there are 5 different categories that 99.99% of the population falls in when it comes to building muscle. You can randomly pick 20 people, put them on the exact same training program, on the exact same fucking steroid protocol, and the exact same nutrition protocol, and you're gonna see different results depending on which of these categories they fall in. Right? Remember, guys, anything that's related to athleticism or sports or whatever, including building muscle, is about 66% genetics. Right? Your environment, how hard you train, all the other shit, that's only 40 to 30% of the equation. Your parents, and if you're a guy, especially your mother, pretty much decides how good your genetics are. And I'm going to explain why later. Now, why is it important to know this, right? Simple. All of the bullshit in the fitness industry, as far as all the shitty advice and all that stuff, mainly comes from the people at the very, very top levels, right? The guys who just build muscle from watching other people train. Guys that go up the stairs and build their quads. You know what I'm talking about. And the problem with that is that they dominate the fitness industry so much that the shitty advice spreads faster than the good advice. Also, depending on which category you fall in, your programming might need to change. The amount of volume you do, the amount of frequency you do, your nutritional intake, how disciplined you're going to have to be with macros and calories and things like that, right? So depending on which category you fall in, this journey is going to be easier or a lot harder. So it's very important to know where you fall in and where the people you're getting advice from also fall in, because what works for them is not necessarily going to work for you. All right, so let's take a look at each category, right? So let's start with the low responders, right? These are the people who struggle to put on muscle, right? They're still going to put on muscle. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't matter how good or bad your genetics are. You're still going to put on muscle. The only thing that changes is how disciplined you're going to have to be, how much attention you're going to have to pay to detail, and how long it's going to take for you to maximize your genetic potential, right? At the end of the day, whether you have shit genetics or great genetics, you're still going to build a great physique. It's just going to take you a lot longer, and it's going to be a lot harder if you have shit genetics, right? So the low responders are here. These are the guys who need, based on the studies, these are the guys who need a ton of volume to grow, right? The basic 3 sets or once or twice a week is not going to cut it, right? If you look at the research on volume, the low responders need a lot of volume. They obviously also have to be extremely disciplined with nutrition, caloric intake, protein intake, all of that, right? Because they have very low baseline muscle protein synthesis, and they also have a low muscle protein synthesis response even after training. So if you fall in this category, most of the advice out there is not going to work for you. You have to be extremely meticulous with everything. Next, you have the normal responders, right? That's the average Joe, right? That's the average guy. Again, you don't have an amazing response to training, but you also don't have a shit response. You just grow at the normal rate, both in the beginner stage and in the advanced stage. Most people fall here, right? A big percentage of the population are here. Next, you have the super responders, right? Those are the guys who pretty much dominate the YouTube fitness industry, the guys who dominate Instagram and all that stuff, right? These are the guys who put on muscle extremely fast, and you can see it in their before and after picture, right? It's funny because they don't even realize how gifted they are. They'll show their before after picture, and you're like, wait, like your before picture looks better than 90% of people 2 years after lifting, right? So these guys fall here. Some of them give good advice, but that's a very small percentage, right? The vast majority of them give shitty advice because, again, everything works for them. These are the, oh, just go to the gym and progressively overload and you'll be fine, motherfuckers. I can't stand these guys. They have no clue what the fuck they're talking about because they have no knowledge of genetics or muscle growth on a molecular level, right? Only a very small percentage of these guys actually know what the fuck they're talking about. Next, you have the hyper responders. These are the guys who build muscle extremely fast, extremely fast. Their before picture looks like your after picture after 10 years of liftings. These are the guys I'm talking about, right? These are the guys who tend to be IFBB pros, usually in the top 10, top 15. These are the guys, again, guys like the Rod, guys who blow up on steroids, after just a few cycles. These are the guys who open the fridge and get jacked. These are the guys who fucking get a pump from taking notes on a piece of paper, right? And in the scientific literature, these guys' response to training is ridiculous, right? In about 8 weeks of training, they could put on just as much muscle as the average person puts in months. And when they hop on steroids, it's a completely different ball game. Last but not least, you have the fucking legends. These are the Ronnie Colemans of the world, the Jay Cutlers, the Big Ramy, the Dorian Yates. These are the guys who placed top 5 at the Mr. Olympia. Not top 10, top 5, right? These guys should not even be on the fucking chart, right? These are the guys that when God made, he pretty much said, let there be gains. Their muscle building potential is unreal. These guys can take extremely low doses of steroids and still blow everybody out of the water. They have extremely sensitive androgen receptors, which is again why they blow up so fast on testosterone. They have a fuck ton of baseline myonuclei and satellite cells. The vast majority of them have myostatin deficiencies or mutations in the IGF-1 pathway. They have a higher proportion of fast twitch muscles compared to the slow twitch muscles. That's why if you notice, a lot of them used to play football and explosive sports before they joined bodybuilding. And obviously, they have a lot of favorable phenotypes such as actin 3, ACE, things like that, right? So you have the fucking legends, the hyper responders, the super responders, the normal responders, and the low responders. The problem is most people down here are taking advice from these guys and thinking it's going to translate over to them, right? You are not in this category. Yes, the laws of training are the same. You still have to lift, you still have to eat, you still have to sleep. But the people down here, you guys have to be a lot more disciplined and you have to train a lot harder. Mainly through volume, frequency, full body workouts, you name it. And obviously you got the guys up there who could do any split they want, train a muscle once a week, half-fast their calories, half-fast their sleep, and still grow. But anyway, guys, that's it. These are the top 5 categories. Try to figure out where you fall in. Chances are you're going to be somewhere down here, right? And be very careful when you're getting advice from people up here, right? And again, it's not their fault. They're not up there to mislead you. It's just everything works for them. So it's very hard for them to know what it's like to build muscle as a low responder or a normal responder. But anyway, I could expand more on this and go over different studies if you want. So if you have any questions about the genetic response to training, comment below. All right, I'm out of here. Alright guys, don't forget to like or share the video, subscribe and hit the bell, and buy my HSP Nucleus of a Low training program. It's the ultimate program for maximum muscle growth. It includes full body workout splits, bro splits, push-pull, home workouts, you name it. Also comes with a complete guide for macros, nutrition, fat loss, muscle growth, hormones, including a meal plan. It's pretty much all my 16 years of experience condensed into one fucking book. You're also going to get free copies of any future edition. So visit Team3DAlpha.com and you can use the 40% off coupon code Nucleus Overload. Or you could just buy the shit at full price. Alright guys, I'm out of here.